Good evening. Jamaica reported 25 new cases of COVID-19 and 2 fatalities yesterday, according to the latest statistics from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. This pushed the total number of cases of the virus since the start of the pandemic to 129,133, and the death toll to 2,921. The country also recorded 106 new recoveries, bringing the total number of recoveries to 82,282 and 331 confirmed active cases on the island. Of the newly reported cases, there were 15 females and 10 males with ages ranging from 4 years to 85 years. Effective tomorrow, Friday, April 15, Jamaica will lift its pre-test mandate for entry into the country. Currently, persons traveling to Jamaica must present a negative COVID-19 test at least 3 days before their arrival. The announcement was made by Prime Minister Andrew Holness in a statement yesterday. Mr. Holness also announced that people in enclosed public spaces will no longer be required to wear a mask. This follows the expiration of the measures which were implemented for the period March 18 to April 15, 2022 under the Public Health Enforcement Measures Coronavirus COVID-19 Order 2022. However, all other measures under the order will remain unchanged at this time. These include a requirement for people who test positive for COVID-19 to isolate at their home until they have recovered. Meanwhile, Jamaicans are being reminded that while current case numbers are relatively low, the COVID-19 pandemic has not ended as new variants of the subvariant of the SARS-CoV-2 virus continue to emerge. The public is therefore urged to continue to exercise caution and voluntarily observe the infection prevention and control measures, include wearing a mask in enclosed spaces to protect themselves as well as family members, particularly those who are most vulnerable. The government said it will continue to monitor the situation and respond as required through changes in the measures to preserve lives and livelihoods. And as the government relaxes some of the COVID-19 restrictions, opposition spokesperson on health and wellness, Dr. Maurice Guy, says the People's National Party, the PNP, is opposed to removing the COVID-19 pre-test requirement for travelers entering Jamaica. Dr. Guy said the opposition would also not support the relaxation of indoor mask-wearing requirement, which the government does not intend to extend beyond April 15. He said it is unwise for the government to adopt such a stance as there is continued risk from this COVID-19 Omicron subvariant BA2, which persists in some jurisdictions from where Jamaica gets the majority of its visitors. He said there is an argument of costs for the pre-test, but Jamaica only requires inexpensive antigen tests to satisfy the protocol requirement. The opposition spokesman said the government should reconsider its current approach to mask wearing and pre-test requirement for travel. Dr. Guy also explained that instead of relaxing the requirements, the government should mandate that mask wearing be maintained and enforced for indoor spaces such as schools, businesses, places of worship, and entertainment. He reminded the government that the World Health Organization, the WHO, has maintained that the pandemic is not over. Scheduled maintenance work by the National Water Commission, the NWC, is expected to disrupt operations at the Cape facility in Westmoreland. The NWC is advising that operations at the Cape facility will be temporarily suspended from next Tuesday, April 19, 2022, through to Friday, April 22, 2022. The disruption in the supply is to facilitate servicing of the pump at the facility. Areas to be affected include Cave Mountain, Ferris, Cave, Beggar's View, Redgate, Mount Pleasant, and 2nd Kentucky. The NWC urges customers to store water for use during the outlined period. Following yesterday's broad daylight murder of 43-year-old taxi operator Mark Perry in Independence City, Portmore, St. Catherine, President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, Edgerton Newman, has appealed to operators, taxi drivers in particular, to exercise vigilance while on the job. Mr. Newman said that yesterday's murder pushed to 17 the number of taxi operators who have been shot and injured or killed or abducted since the start of 2022. Based on a police report, around 9:15 a.m. yesterday, Mr. Perry was at the intersection of Passage Fort Drive and Independence City when armed men traveling on a motorcycle pulled up to him. The pillion reportedly hopped off the motorcycle and opened fire, hitting Perry. The men escaped and Perry was pronounced dead at hospital. Mr. Newman said incidents of violence against taxi operators is, quote, getting from bad to worse, end quote. Mr. Newman also urged the government to provide proper parking facilities for taxi operators island-wide, possibly with police posts, as a measure for security. 12 members of the judiciary were sworn into higher office yesterday by Governor General His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, during a ceremony at King's House. They are Pamela Mason, Stephanie Orr, Opal Smith, Dale Staple, Sharon Barnes, Althea Jarrett, and Maxine Johnson, who will serve as puisne judges. Tania Mott Tuller-Reed has been appointed to serve as puisne judge, while Tamara Dickens will serve as master in chambers. The Honorable Justice Evan Brown has been appointed to serve as a judge in the Court of Appeal, while Justice Georgiana Fraser and Justice Kisok Leng will both serve as judges of appeal. The Governor General, in his remarks, reminded the judges to always consider their oath, to defend the Constitution, and to act without fear, favor, affection, or ill will to all those who appear before them for relief of wrongs that have been done to them or perceived wrongs. The Governor General also expressed congratulations to the judges, noting that their performances in previous assignments have commended their elevation to the positions to which they are now assigned. The government has invested more than $1.8 billion to mitigate against learning loss across the education sector. Minister of Education and Youth, Favour Williams, made the disclosure during her contribution to the 2022-2023 sectoral debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. She stated that this figure does not include the government's continued support of online media platforms and educational resources, which is $1.2 billion at the primary level and $1 billion at the secondary level. Acknowledging that it is not enough for schools simply to reopen their doors at what appears to be the end of the COVID-19 pandemic, Minister Williams said that students will need tailored and sustained support to help them readjust and catch up after the pandemic. In this regard, the ministry continues to benefit from the support of international partners such as the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, and the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, in its effort to provide quality education through technology and capacity building of teachers. Minister Williams said UNICEF is supporting literacy and numeracy development through increased student access to learning resources, while UNESCO has provided training and the sharing of lessons learned from addressing the COVID-19 pandemic in various jurisdictions. In thanking the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, and the World Bank for their technical and financial support in many areas, Minister Williams pointed out that the IDB will also be working with the ministry to digitize its learning resources as well. And those are the stories making Mello TV News this evening. I'm Nicole Hales. Thanks for watching.